So this car is my primary Time Attack car. For those of you that follow the channel pretty regularly are already aware of that. I've been kind of slow on the videos on this for a while. We're gonna try to pick it up in 2023 because I am trying to do a full season of racing with NASA with the car. Now I haven't had the car out since last February or March when I was at Chuckwalla with the car. Everything worked pretty good back then, but I've had chronic issues with this car with the brakes and with the anti-lock brake system in the past, and kind of show you what happened here over the weekend. So long story short, I couldn't get the brakes to work on this dang thing. The braking points, or where I would start braking in braking zones, were a lot further out than where I would even brake on my GR86 in the wet. We had a wet day on Sunday where I drove the GR, but my brakes were essentially locking up the moment I put any brake pressure into the pedal. So there was no like progressive increase in braking power. It was like locked on or off, it seemed like. And what happened, as you can see here on my what were nice Hoosier R7 racing slicks, I flat spotted the crap out of them and corded them on the inside, which is where a lot of the braking occurs because of the camber on the car. This car has a lot of camber, as you can see. So under braking, you know, only about a half of the tire or so, maybe 3/4 is touching the ground. But anyways, smoked these tires really bad, not happy, and not awesome. So obviously we have some issues to figure out. This car has the OEM M3 brakes, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. In fact, why don't we get this thing up on the quick jack, take things apart, and give it a once over. So as I mentioned, we have E36 M3 brakes on the car. This car is originally not a M3, it's a 325 IS, and it has pretty much everything M3 on the front end. So the rotors are M3, the hubs, bearings, and spindles are all M3 parts, as well as the calipers being M3 parts as well. And ever since I upgraded to these brakes, they really haven't worked great, to be honest. I run the Hawk DTC 60 or 70 front pads. Lately I've been running the Hawk DTC 70s with stock rotor blanks or OEM style rotor blanks. And whenever I have fresh rotors on the car, it works good. The brakes work good for the most part. There's no random lockups or failure in ABS types of situations. And overall it'll work good for maybe 3 or 4 sessions. Then it seems like once the pads start getting some deposits on the rotors, they start getting progressively worse, to the point of when I start to brake on the car, or where I'm giving it brake input, I get shudders and shakes in the steering wheel. This is something that's been going on for years really now at this point. And really bad vibrations under braking and even locking up of the brakes. Like I mentioned earlier, getting on the brakes initially in a braking zone and my front tires would just lock right up, or one of the front tires would lock right up. In this case, this past weekend where I smoked this Hoosier really bad, it was the front right tire. It didn't matter if I was making a turn to the right or a turn to the left. You know, if I'm making a turn to the left, you would think with the weight on that tire, it would be less susceptible to locking up, but it wasn't. It didn't matter which direction I was turning, that right front wanted to lock up, and like I showed you, it ruined a tire. And what I've kind of determined over the years that's happening is these, I don't know what the issue is with these DTC 70 pads and the M3 style calipers. I don't specifically think it's a problem with the Hawk pad, because I run Hawk DTC 60s on my GR86. I ran them on my BRZ and they were always great in the OEM calipers and even the AP racing caliper on that car. So talking with friends and other guys that have had E36s that have raced them, they've had similar problems with the E36 M3 brake calipers, and from my experience, they're just not up to the task, and they just get progressively worse after replacing the rotors with brand new rotors and then getting some track time on them. For street driving, it's probably fine, but I don't know. To me, it's pretty clear that they can't hold up to the heat and the abuse of a track car. And if we take a closer look here, I can kind of show you close up some of the pad deposits and things. You can sort of see them as I get a little close up here. I don't know, maybe the shine is making them harder to see. but you can see the streaks of the pad. It's not too bad on this side. Down on the bottom here, you can see it a lot more. And what you'll notice if I try to spin this thing, it's kind of free and then it binds. Like, it's really hard to turn right now. Oh, in fact, I can't even turn it with one hand. There we go. But it'll spin freely, then it'll bind and spin freely again. And that's just not right. And I think that is largely due to the pad deposits and what's going on with the caliper. But anyways, something that we're going to fix with an actual brake kit. I'm tired of replacing rotors like every event because that's what my solution was. So we're done with that. We're trying to source a AP Racing brake kit, much like I had on my BRZ. I'm pointing to my GR86. I didn't have it on my GR86. But on my old BRZ, we had the AP Racing Sprint kit. We're gonna put a similar kit on this car, more than likely, to try and resolve that brake issue. And hopefully that will get me over my braking issues that I've been having for years with this stupid car and get rid of those frustrations. And not only the mechanical braking issues that I have to overcome as well, but the ABS hasn't worked on the car, I'm pretty sure, since I did the S52 swap where I put the new motor in the car. And chances are I probably left something out. In fact, I think I figured out what it is with the help of a friend, but I have a few random cables that are sitting around here from the ASC and ABS system that was in the car. I think this is what my problem is. This cable is supposed to be connected to the active stability control device that usually sits down in here. And without ASC properly working, the ABS doesn't properly work as well. So I think once I get that particular component back in, my ABS will start working and we should have a mostly functional braking system on this car again. So this thing is going to be our project for the year. Like I said earlier, we're trying to run all of the NASA time trial events in TT4 with this car to try to compete for the season championship, but we'll see. Trying to get more action with this particular car and really kind of update it and get it modernized with some of these systems and components that I haven't had on the car in the past. I might have mentioned in a previous video, or also looking at getting the most out of the Link ECU that's in the car, because that has a lot of capability as well, which I am not utilizing up to this point. We want to add some stuff to the interior, add that race dash, get all of the oil pressure and temperature sensors integrated with the Link ECU. And another thing I have to do is finish off the cage at some point. Right now it has a bolt-in and TC Klein roll bar. I do want to get this thing fully caged and also remove some weight from it in the process. The heater core in the dashboard we can remove to remove a bunch of weight and some other stuff in the wiring and the other systems to get this thing even lighter, because I think I'm going to need it to be competitive in the TT4 class. So that's what's going on with my BMW these days. Hope you enjoyed the video. We're gonna try to do more project videos of this car and race recaps, or share with you guys how we're doing in the racing world from a competition standpoint as we make upgrades to the car, improve it, make it better, make it faster and more reliable, most importantly. So stick around for that stuff coming up soon. We're hoping to be out at Chuckwalla Raceway in the middle of February with the NASA Car Club. And I'm hoping by that point we have the brakes working well and everything else with the car kind of dialed in. We've got a dyno session coming up in a couple weeks, in addition to the other upgrades that we've got going on in the car. So really hoping to get a lot of time in this car this year. I've missed it, and we're gonna have fun with it. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave them down below. I would love to hear from you. Stay safe out there. I am checking out, and we'll talk to you all next time.